Coulter, of course, best-selling author. You should have her latest book, Resistance is Futile. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. Great stuff on Twitter. And go to AnnCoulter.com. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Great. How are you, Mark Simone?
Very good. So, Harvey Weinstein, 23 years. Now, here's what people in the courtroom are saying. Problem for the reason he got sentenced to so many years, you're supposed to admit what you did, express remorse. In front of the judge, he expressed remorse, but kept saying he wasn't guilty, he didn't do anything wrong. Not good.
I would have given him life in prison for saying that he's worried. His main concern is we're going back to the 50s.
Yeah, explain that. He actually said that. What the hell was he talking?
Good grief. It is the most disgusto Hollywood thing he could have said. This is, let's go back to a period of low crime and intact families, and when women wouldn't sleep with pigs like me to get a part in a movie. I mean, I promise you, he wasn't, for the 50s was clearly the best period of this country's history.
For those who don't know, you're not kidding. He actually said that.
He actually said that, yes. Yes, in fact, not only did I burst out laughing, one of my friends immediately called me, and I said, I know, go back to the 50s.
Now, there have been 17,000 Roger Ailes movies. For some reason, Hollywood thinks, there's nothing good here with you can't make a movie of this Harvey Weinstein situation.
Yes, I tweeted that too.
Well, that's where I got it from.
Hollywood's reaction. Time for another movie about Roger Ailes. I mean, even if you take the worst things Ailes was accused of, it doesn't hold a candle to any of these guys. And so far, there have already been, one cable series with Russell Crowe and one movie about Roger Ailes. Yeah. I mean, none of it even involved sex. It was accusations of mostly talk, and a very precious little, even touching on the outside of the clothes. These are the allegations. With Harvey Weinstein, we can't discuss the allegations on radio.
You could see De Niro with the walker playing Harvey Weinstein going into the courtroom. It'd be great.
De Niro... No, I'm sorry. It would be very difficult to find another human as physically repulsive as Harvey Weinstein, and De Niro doesn't come close.
Well, all right. And also, De Niro was sharing an office building with Harvey. They were partners and things. And not to mention, NBC was partners with Harvey in Project Runway, other TV shows.
Well, and Hillary, her taking advice from Weinstein, and obviously, just fundraiser after fundraiser. That's part of the reason she couldn't quite make it to Wisconsin. She was too busy with lovely people like Harvey Weinstein. No, this is, when exposed to the light of day, this is America's statement on Hollywood values and the values of the Democratic Party. Incidentally, if we could transition Hillary, I was just thinking about what an historically unattractive candidate she was. The fact that last night, in all these states that Bernie won, slaughtered Hillary in during the primaries, now Joe Biden is handing Sanders his hat in these states. It's another reminder of what an incredibly unattractive candidate Trump got to run against 4 years ago. So I say, warning, warning, Republicans.
It's a good point. I never thought about that. If you watched all the coverage last night, they showed how Bernie did much better in 2016. They're saying, well, what happened to Bernie? You're right. He was running against Hillary. That was easier.
Yeah, the Republicans have some institutional advantages and disadvantages. Same with the Democrats. One of the Democrats' major disadvantages is that they have to keep kowtowing to the feminists. So no one is. I mean, as we saw in this past week with Lizzie Warren, where are the New York Times op-eds? I looked. I think my nexus must be on the blink on the withdrawal or defeat, however you want to put it, of Carly Fiorina, Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin. How is it that Liz Warren, her running for office, which I think in most cases requires just an unbelievable, running for president, an unbelievable amount of narcissism, how is that, something she's doing for all women?
Well, listen, nobody hated Elizabeth Warren more than me, but now I love her, and she deserves a medal for taking out Michael Bloomberg. She was brilliant at that.
I've got bad news for you. Michael Bloomberg slaughtered Elizabeth Warren among black and Hispanic voters. So, yes, you may be reading in the New York Times about how, ooh, Warren won that debate. She killed, she crushed. Not on Election Day.
No.
That's what I mean. The feminists, we can't disagree with them. No, you're right. Hillary is the most, well, at least no one in their party. I think our side disagreed pretty forcefully about what a fabulous candidate Hillary was. But all these sad, emasculated Democratic men have to say, yes, she's the most qualified person ever to run for president. Good grief, anyone could see she was a disaster. Her big claim to fame is, I was married to a president who sexually molested interns in the White House. Make me president. When she bigfooted, there were all these Democrats. Remember, she took Moynihan's seat in the Senate from New York. New Yorkers listening to this will probably remember. There were all these, long-serving Democrats who were waiting for Moynihan to retire. I think, Carolyn Maloney, for example. But there were others, just waiting when this lion of the Senate, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, retires. They're gonna move in. Oh, no. Hillary says, oh, I think I'd like to run for that seat. And they all have to step aside.
Yeah. Not to mention,
that was her big, electoral success. But we have to listen to the Democratic Party and all the emasculated men in the Democratic Party, which also means the media, keep telling us how magnificent this woman is.
Not to mention Hulu being forced and pushed by Clinton allies to put this stupid 8-hour documentary on Hulu, which they didn't want to even run.
Is that true?
Yes.
I can't imagine anyone thinking, wow, yeah, well, please bring back the 1950s values when men weren't pushed around by these bossy, irrational feminists.
Hey, Joe Biden, we only have like a minute. Professional politician for 50 years. Why would he explode at some factory worker asking a question?
Well, you're not going to like my answer,
okay.
Which is why I haven't tweeted it, but watch the actual tape. I mean, I kept seeing this on Twitter last night, how he cursed and he said BS, but the full word, and said, and shushed a female. No, a union guy came up to him at a plant and started asking him about, some statement he had made about guns. The officious female staffer of Biden's says, oh, we don't have time for this, move aside. He shushes her then. That's what you're supposed to do. A constituent is asking you a question, point one. Point two, if you listen to him, it was a lot like that. You have to listen to the full answer. I disagree with him on guns. I hope he doesn't win. I want Trump to be the one to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But it is not at all how it's being portrayed. It's a perfect example of what I've said to you before about Joe Biden. Things that lifted from the context make him sound like a monster, like a Hillary Clinton type candidate. If you actually watch the tape, he's saying it. He's answering the guy. He's comparing AR-14s, as he keeps saying, to machine guns, and says, "No, I love guns. I'm not going to take your gun away, but there are limits. You have free speech. Can't shout fire in a crowded theater." He makes the best argument you could make, and he's talking to a union member. You think he's crying because Biden uses curses a little? He wasn't really cursing at him.
No, all right.
It's not nearly as bad as the headlines. You have to actually.
I know, but we like to pick on Biden. It's fun to pick on Biden. Well, anyway, everybody hey, if you haven't read it yet, if you want to know how to fight Trump, get Ann Coulter's book, Resistance is Futile. All of her books are great. If there's some you haven't read, go get them. AnnCoulter.com or, of course, on Amazon.
Oh, I'm on vacation next week.
Oh, you're not here next week?
Correct.
What are we going to do? Vacation from what?
Good point. I've been self-quarantining for decades.
Oh, okay. So
no, I am on vacation. One short week off. If there's an emergency, I'll take a break and call you.
All right. Well, and everybody follow Ann Coulter on Twitter. One of the best tweeters of all, Ann Coulter on Twitter and AnnCoulter.com. New column comes out tonight. Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.